My dear brothers and sisters, welcome to Sunday Reach by Dominicans in India. We are continuing our journey of Lent. On first Sunday of Lent, we were with Jesus in the desert where the Lord proved himself victorious against the temptations. And the victory of the Lord is our own true victory. On the second Sunday, we were with Jesus on the holy mountain, experiencing the glory of transfiguration, and it gives us hope for resurrection. And on this Sunday, we are with Jesus as he cleanses the temple. We see Jesus cleansing or purifying the temple. Meek and humble Jesus becomes firm and furious when he saw people turning a sacred place into a marketplace. Jesus is asserting the dignity and sanctity of his Father's house. It is a clear sign, my dear brothers and sisters, every place, person or thing that is consecrated to God has its own true dignity and reverence. We read in the book of Wisdom, chapter 6:10, those who observe holy things in holiness, they will be made holy. So this is a direct meaning and reflection we can draw from the action of Jesus from today's gospel. But at the same time, this action of Jesus goes beyond this particular meaning. As we know, in the Bible, every prophetic word and action has some meaning which goes beyond. When Jesus answers the question of the Pharisees regarding his authority of doing or cleansing the temple, Jesus says, "Destroy this temple and I will restore it within 3 days." What is the meaning, my dear brothers and sisters? Here Jesus is telling the temple of sacrifice is his own body. He offers another sacrifice on the cross. Cross become the altar of sacrifice. Calvary become the sacred place of worship. Jesus speaks to us in the Gospel of St. John, chapter 12:32. When I am lifted up from the earth, I shall draw all people to myself. Here, the Lord is drawing the whole world to the cross. More symbolically, we can see, my dear brothers and sisters, at the time of Jesus' death, the veil of the temple, the curtain of the temple is torn from top to bottom. What is the meaning here? The holiness of God comes out of the temple to dwell in the hearts of the people. Through his death on the cross, Jesus allows the same holiness of God to move out of the temple so that every one of us can enter into the Holy of Holies within our own hearts. We can have a close relationship with God. We can encounter God in the inner chamber of our own hearts. We read in the Gospel of St. John, chapter 14, verse 23, "If you love me, you will keep my words, and my Father will love you, and we will come and make our home within you." If we are able to welcome Jesus, he can come and dwell in us. The Holy Trinity can make our hearts the home of God's presence. St. Paul, who understood this great mystery, speaks to us in his first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 3:16. "Don't you know that you are the temple of God and God's Spirit dwells in you?" Yes, my dear brothers and sisters, how beautiful it is to reflect all of us are the living temples of God, and God dwells in each one of us. We read in St. Paul's letter to the Romans, chapter 12:1, offer yourself as a living sacrifice. This sacrifice that we offer is not offered in a man-made shrine, but rather the shrine that is within. All of us are the temples of the living God, and God truly lives in us and moves in us. Therefore, we need to rediscover the inner beauty of our own life. Very often, we are distracted by so many external things, fail to see our own true beauty. As the psalmist says, the beauty of the princess is within. Real beauty of God's presence lies within. As we know, when we go to an ocean, at the surface of the ocean, we find a lot of disturbances, waves and storms. As we go deeper and deeper, at the depth we find perfect calmness, and there we discover precious pearls. In the same way, my dear brothers and sisters, externally we may be disturbed and distracted by so many things, but if we are able to make an inner journey into our own true selves, we will find real beauty, the real beauty of God's presence within us. Today, all of us need to reflect seriously that I am the living temple of God. Therefore, I should keep the dignity and sanctity of this sacred place intact. When I look within, if I find there is dirt, there is filth in me, I am not worthy as God's temple. This Lenten season is inviting us to spend some time before the presence of Jesus, inviting Him to our own hearts, into our own lives. Jesus can enter in and purify us. He can cleanse us, and He can give us new meaning, new beauty to our life. If we are able to cleanse ourselves, purify ourselves by the grace of Jesus, we will experience new life, new beauty within us. In the Gospel of St. Matthew chapter 5:8, Jesus tells us, "Blessed are the pure in heart, they shall see God." If we can keep ourselves pure and holy by the grace of God, we can encounter the presence of God always. Psalmist says in Psalm 24, "Who shall climb the mountain of God?" The person with clean hands and pure heart can come to the mountain of God and experience Him. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, this season of grace is offering us wonderful chance so that we can welcome Jesus once again into our hearts, who will make us worthy, who will purify us. Therefore, let us spend some time before the presence of God, allowing Jesus to enter into the temple of His presence. We read in the book of Revelation, chapter 3:20, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens, I will come in." The Lord is waiting to come in. Let us welcome Him. Let us ask Him to purify and make our hearts worthy as His sacred dwelling place.